Hey, let me share some information with you about strokes. So, there are two types of strokes. One stroke occurs when there's too much blood to the brain, and another stroke occurs when there's not enough. So, let's just talk about the stroke that occurs when there's not enough. This type of stroke is referred to as an ischemic stroke. And an ischemic stroke is when there's not enough or too little blood supply to the brain. This can happen one or two ways. Either there is a sudden blockage or a gradual blockage. So when there is a gradual blockage, this is referred to as a thrombotic stroke, okay? So think of it like a beaver dam. The water's rushing down the river, right? But when the beavers build those dams, it's gradually. It takes them a little bit of time to gather some mud, gather some sticks, and eventually they're able to kind of slow down the flow of the water down the river, right? The same thing happens in a thrombotic stroke. Gradually, plaque may build up and eventually it may cause an occlusion to that particular artery, which leads to a limited blood supply to the brain. So another type of ischemic stroke is referred to as an embolic stroke. So this happens when there's a sudden blockage of the artery, which leads to lack of blood supply to the brain. So you can kind of think of this like a bathtub. So water's running down the bathtub, and when the water goes down the drain, it goes through the pipes, right? So think of the pipes like an artery. Let's say water's flowing, and then you add the drain stopper. Once you add that drain stopper, the water stops flowing down the pipe, right? The same thing happens with an embolic stroke. Maybe there's a blood clot or a piece of a tumor that may have fallen off that suddenly causes a blockage or an occlusion in that artery that leads to a lack of blood supply to the brain.